Alright guys, here we're going to talk about the movie SheBorg. 2016's SheBorg. Lee, had you seen it before?
Of course not.
SheBorg, got this at a dollar store.
Oh, okay.
It's Australia's finest.
Right?
So SheBorg, it reminds me of some other low-budget movies that we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
It's clearly a low-budget film, but it has a certain charm to it. It might be the accents, can't be sure.
Listen, there's a formula, and accents do add, and this is I think it's all Australian, but that thing where they pronounce their O's as like some other thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like instead of saying nowhere, they say nowhere or something. Nigh, this weird thing. Oh, it's perfect. It's great. I agree. It's good. I love this movie.
It is a great like mash of practical effects, some like cheesy like did your friends in high school make this part? Like I don't know if this is I'm not hip to Australian wrestling, but I wouldn't be surprised if you were like, oh, a bunch of these people are wrestlers in Australia,
or like roller derby girls or something like that.
Because there's a lot of,
it's got a good
of
vibe.
practical effects.
Stunts.
There's a lot of stunts that aren't necessarily amazing, but they do look like things you've seen.
Well, and it's stuff where like an actress would never do that, but it's
probably not.
It's like clearly the actress doing it because that's all there is on screen. So yeah, there's a lot of that. No, yeah, like it wasn't quite like a 10 out of 10. I have some criticisms that I can get into with spoilers,
of course.
But no, this was a super pleasant surprise. At a certain point in like the beginning, I'm like, okay, this is it. We did it. This is
I think I was more on board. Like it started out stronger than it ended.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Not a spoiler, but this is a fun movie. If you like a low budget sci-fi horror, you can watch with your friends.
Sci-fi horror, action, kind of everything.
Yeah,
kind of all of these things.
This is the movie.
A love letter to that sort of, and yeah, like you said, like a backyard wrestling homemade movie / After Effects tutorial type of experience.
But like done well enough.
Yeah.
It was a perfectly serviceable movie.
Yes, exactly. So recommended.
All right, guys, so if you've seen this, I don't care. Falls over spoilers, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video, and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of SheBorg. So this movie starts off, and I'm like, oh, I love these credits. Sometimes.
Oh God, I was gonna say.
So in the beginning, the first couple times you see the credits, they're like really well added into the shot, and they are motion tracked perfectly.
Okay, yes.
And I was in my head, like the first one you see is them jumping over the stairs, running from the cops. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. We're gonna see the credits incorporated in the scenery here. Oh, this is great. And for a moment, they had me fooled, and I thought that's what was happening. And then you saw some really poorly motion-tracked ones, and I was like, oh,
okay.
You broke the illusion on me.
So, like, this whole scene, and, like, it looks like it's filmed with, like, a weird poor man's steady rig and a fisheye lens for their conversation.
You know, this type of antisocial behavior is textbook acting out. Do you need a hug? Get off. Why can't you take me seriously?
Yeah.
But the camera's moving, and I'm like, okay, moving camera's good. But at that point, like, I don't know what this movie is. The whole chase scene with the cops, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like Scooby-Doo.
This is going to be not what I want it to be at all, or something like that. I was like, not into this part.
The cops are driving, they're in on the joke here, Australia, because that's like the Interceptor or whatever from Mad Max.
Okay, good.
Like, or their version of it. And I'm like, what is this? And
well, I noticed she's like spray painting something that's obviously added to the hood of the car.
Yes.
Like, it's not like...
Same thing with the poster. She's never spray painting something that can't be replaced.
Exactly, right.
It's like a fake plastic scoop on the engine, yeah.
Yeah, some nice little to add to it, yes. But this is a prequel to Mad Max, obviously. We find out later.
Well.
In its own way.
In some ways.
But then we go to space. Which kind of changes
huge pickup here once we go to space. This is where they had me. I was totally on board. I love this. And it's not going to be something that everyone could enjoy. Yeah. But if you are a filmmaker, if you like low-budget shit, if you enjoy sci-fi schlock, they nail it.
Maximum power. Restore.
This is perfect.
The main chick, the long white-haired alien or whatever, is just chewing up the scenery, all good.
You will be executed, and your metal reduced to inanimate sludge.
And then when the fight breaks out, it's like, oh, she could fight too. It's like this whole thing. Yeah, but it feels small and like cheap and stuff.
It's definitely
obviously. Small. But that's what you get.
I like the acid blood. I think that stuff's cool.
They do a good mixture of like someone gets punched or like slammed, up against the wall, and then somebody else like throws some of that green shit on it, and you're like, yes, like it's this nice combination.
Their plan for killing the SheBorg is like vomit her into the next century. Blah, blah, blah.
They're just vomiting on her to melt her or something.
And I like that, but the problem is it melts her restraints, and now she's able to kill them.
Chaos provides.
Because she's way more powerful than they are, apparently.
Chaos provides.
But what's weird is that like then she approaches like the thing abandoned ship in like an escape pod, which I love the look of those weird escape pod things.
And
I think
like
that stuff's great.
And the flying scenes with like the lines and like the heads up display of like the brr, brr, and when it cuts to like long white hair chicks also chasing her into like her own pod.
I was like, is there nobody else on this ship? Do you have no reinforcements? Because she just killed like 3 of you, and now you're gonna go try to beat her alone. Whatever.
That'd be ridiculous.
But I and then like they land, they do some more fighting. We meet Velma.
What the smack?
Oh, I called her that too. Did they call her that in the movie?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Good.
Velma is like a Ghostbuster scientist nerd with her like.
Yes. And that's when I was like, oh, you have like an actual actor in this movie too, not just special types of actor. I don't think that Velma was super great, but she was doing a thing, and I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
She's like you have a character.
I didn't think they progressed her character enough. She never really felt like she joined the group.
Yeah, there's a lot of missed opportunities.
They didn't really do that. Even with the cop, you meet all these characters that
they should have been love
form.
Interests. They should have done a thing.
Kinda.
They should have bonded.
And like I don't know if it was a woke thing or if these wrestler girls are wrestler girls, but like that guy is gigantic and he doesn't fight well at all.
He sucks. Yes.
He doesn't do any of the things. Like he has the body of a wrestler.
There's a line where he says, "Sounds like cardio. I don't do cardio." And I was like, "This is amazing."
I'm kind of just spitballing you. You can give me a hand.
Sounds like cardio. I don't do cardio.
You know how many guys I know like that that won't do cardio at all? Yeah.
But he's a cop, and like all the other cops suck so much more, and you think he's going to be the one that doesn't at all.
Well, he proved he doesn't do cardio. He couldn't catch those
yes,
girls
it's
at all.
so perfect. I actually love that he's like inept, and then like he has like his shirt off, and they're like, "We can find you a shirt," and he's like, "I'm good." Like it's just funny. I'm like, this is like.
Well, that's not very constructive, Eddie. We can find you a shirt.
That,
I don't know if it's woke or if it's just like a Tarantino where it's like, no, I make movies with badass chicks in them. The good guys are chicks, the bad guys are everyone's a chick.
But I would have liked if he was badass too.
Yeah.
Like I was totally cool with him doing things, but it got to a certain point where you're just doing the same moves over and over again. You're like pulling a little tag onto their eyes and they go down for a few moments. And that, I think, is the issue because you just don't have enough bad guys or enough cyborg shit to like redress them to be somebody else. Because you don't get that sense of like, we're not gaining any ground. Every fight is the same, and we're just doing this thing that like slowly lets us get away for a moment. Because even when we destroy them... The next shot, they're clean and they're not destroyed.
They just come back, yeah.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you doing it?
And there's not even like a regeneration scene
that
shows them. So okay, so people get Borged up. We have our SheBorg. I like the look of her a lot. I thought her character sucked.
soon we will be many.
I don't know what your thoughts are about the actual SheBorg.
Well, I have mixed feelings. So she seemed to be foreign of some things, like she had an accent, which I was like, okay, but an alien should have an accent. I like that. I thought she looked cool.
What? Feed me. She's hungry.
Yes. I like the things that come out of her mouth and do things. I like that I could see the wires and stuff. And I don't even say that sarcastically. I like seeing how things work. Then like when you see certain shots, you're like, oh, that's a composite shot. That was added into that part. This happened
There's
there.
one shot though, and like once I saw this shot, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. She's like wearing a coat that has like a zipper like right under her chin.
I saw that as well.
There's a shot early on where the zipper is just catching the light, and it's so obvious.
Chaos provides.
And then for the rest of the movie, I'm like, that's a fucking zipper. It's just a zipper. How do you get a zipper
Yeah.
in space? What are you doing? And like maybe the aliens also like that's the best way to do it is a zipper, but it's still like bothering me a lot. But yes,
Yeah, the clothing stuff is interesting.
Her costume's great. I think
The
with all
main
things,
character, what's her
tubes.
name? Dylan.
Dylan. Yeah.
Dylan. Her shirts like tell the story of what's happening at the moment.
Ooh.
So she wears 3 shirts throughout the movie.
I like
and
this.
the first
This is
shirt
analysis.
is like an anarchist shirt that is the band person she got.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so strange that she has this shirt for a band. She's like, I don't even know you're a band, whatever.
Wearing one of my t-shirts.
No, I'm not. I'm wearing one of my t-shirts.
One of my designs. I designed this one.
And then they become fast fans and friends. But she has this shirt, this anarchist shirt, as she's spraying an anarchist symbol. She's doing her anarchy. She's fighting the man who happens to be her father. And that's a whole other thing to talk about.
Yes.
But then the next shirt she has on it has like a dog on it.
Look, lady, we don't want any trouble, but there's 3 of us and only 1 of you. And I know Kung Fu.
And they're going to rescue dogs from a dog farm.
Right, the puppy mill.
The
shirt.
puppy mill.
And the guy says, I made a new shirt about the puppies. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's part 2. Part
shirt
3, her shirt doesn't change until the very end of the movie, and she has a Tank Girl shirt on when it's the apocalypse and she's fighting the fucking world.
In like the future, far
Yes.
future part. Oh, nice.
So like
I didn't
her
notice
shirts
her shirt then. Yes.
correlate to every part of the movie, whether that is intentional or not. It better be intentional. It better be intentional.
I mean, with the inconsistencies and all the strangeness and the slipshod production that I feel like this underwent, that has to be intentional.
I
would
hope.
say.
I hope.
Yes. But what
I
I was
liked her
saying,
outfit in general. She always had a cool, like, weird little shorts and like plaid pants.
she's great. They're all great. Everything's wonderful with those characters. I like their look and how everything
Her
progresses.
sidekick is like Blossom with her hats.
Yes.
Almost like loses her life. My hat.
That's my hat, bitch!
That was my hat. Yes. Okay, so we have 2 chicks. One is Dylan. I think she's, forgive me, like not as good of an actress, but like seems to be down and is a like old school
She's
brawler.
physical for sure.
Very
May have been
physical.
one of the only people that applied that could do some of the things that she does.
She's riding on like the outside of a van and like it's her.
swinging from the door.
and,
Yeah,
like, doing
the car's
it
not
and
going
stuff,
very
yeah.
fast, but she is
Yeah.
still holding her weight and doing that thing.
But that is shit that like male or female actors at this level of budget would be like, I'm not doing that shit.
We had an actor who said,
Like,
"Please don't
no.
touch my wrist."
Yes, exactly. Like when you're trying to make stuff and people are like, wait a minute, we're not doing that. No.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, the scene says to do that. You read all this. They go, well, yeah, but I'm not doing that. So she was, I think, down to do everything.
Certainly.
I liked her, but when she delivers some of her lines, it doesn't feel like an actress delivering lines.
I'm gonna cut this alien bitch's power supply off at its source.
And she has,
That can be good
she has
or
some
bad.
lines that aren't the best though. So
Yes.
I will put it half and half on the heads
Yeah.
of the writer and the actress here.
Well,
where
but
I don't
think-
know that a better
yeah.
actor could have delivered some of the lines
I think
in the way that it would have been.
I think
meant
that it
to go.
works because her like sidekick partner, whatever, Eddie, it does come off like an actress,
Yes.
right? And they have a dynamic that reminds me of other action movie stuff.
Yeah.
Where your main character might be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger or one of the much lesser versions of Arnold Schwarzenegger who has difficulty delivering certain lines, especially early in the career when we don't know how to use them yet. Jean-Claude Van Damme, somebody like that. And you pair them up with someone else who's more of an actor, right? And her thing, she keeps saying, I know Kung Fu. And you're like, this is going to be like a funny joke. She's doing crane kicks. She's like,
Yeah,
she knows
yeah.
Kung Fu. So like they're both competent fighters. They do wrestling. Like I'm going to roll over your back and kick someone moves together.
So I
like
didn't
combos.
like anytime there was
Yeah.
the teamwork fighting stuff, unless you're addressed as we are teamwork fighters in life, I always hate that shit because it's like, this is choreographed maneuvers that you didn't do. Like, you aren't like, all right, I'm going to do this thing. These are things where if you didn't know it was coming, I want to roll over your back, Lee, we would both fall and we would be killed.
You mean like this? We're gonna take care of it. No, but that's the vibe that I got because they like high five after everything, like.
But
and,
they
do
have
their
like a
things.
bad version of the Bill and Ted high five.
Yes,
where
but,
like
But
one or two times, okay. When it then it starts to weigh on me.
But the symbolism of the high five, like they are on the same page.
Yeah.
They do this all the time. They understand how to do these things, right? I dug that like whole aspect.
I think though that runs directly parallel badly with the fact that they are often fighting with like, oh, why do you do this thing, blah blah, which makes them not seem like they're on the page and cohesive and doing the same thing all the time.
Again, she doesn't want her to do the. There's
it was never enough that it took me out of anything.
Yes,
I had more questions than answers with the fighting stuff, because like at one point she does like a Hurricane Rana where like you jump up and like your legs wrap around their head and then you spin flip them to the ground, and I was like, that is 100% a wrestling move that you would just not fall into as not a wrestler, and I think you did that move, so like I think you're a wrestler.
Yeah, I just took it like a movie where everybody suddenly knows kung fu. It was just everybody's suddenly like an amateur wrestler.
There's no explanation
right?
in
like,
film
cool.
in universe as to why that's happening, but my explanation outside of universe, I imagine if I googled this person, it would be like Aussie Fight Fest 2003.
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel like we got some like tough chicks, and someone was like, we're making a tough chick movie. Who wants to be a tough chick in my movie?
And there are a ton of like tough chicks, like a lot of the Borgs. Like I call them Borgs. They're not. They're like they're.
We should call them that because
fine, the Borgs.
No, but like there's a queen who makes minions. I started saying this like an hour ago. This is perfect. So like they all just get like one eye piece, I think, only.
Pretty much.
And that's the only Borging that happens to people. And they still retain their own personalities.
Some of them do.
But now they're like on the team, but now they're on Team SheBorg.
Yeah.
Is all that happens. But that's fine. That's fun. We're
like
having
our
fun
mad
here.
scientist doctor lady who is like, boss level 1 has like her scene with the syringe.
Alrighty then. Who's next?
And then she has like a syringe glove that she like gets people with. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Need your face. First, I'm gonna peel your face like citrus fruit.
Huh?
Oh, okay.
Puppy lady.
Yeah. There's like weird things that I kind of like, but don't know if they're addressed perfectly, with like the Borg people like sucking energy and stuff, like licking phones and this and that. Like I like that, but at the same time, you are at like a house. If you sense the electricity, wouldn't you like rush to the outlet and just like put your tongue in a 3-prong outlet?
And like they're also eating dogs and people and stuff. So I don't know what's going on there either.
Yeah, and some of them are too choosy about the dogs. You want this? Do you know how many chemicals I've put in that dog? You're a robot now. Who gives a shit?
Do you want some?
You know how many chemicals I've injected into those? They're not organic or free range or nothing. Just,
This movie sucks, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Put the arm down, step away from the bodies.
it made us.
We've mentioned like some of the parts that may be hit or miss with the wrestling stuff, but the things that are awesome are the impacts in this movie are altered in some way. Like,
altered impacts.
Well, there's
starring
like,
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's like speed ups and just people getting zipped out of frame when they're hit, and it really sells.
No, there's a combination we were saying of like the practical and the digital in this awesome way, right? So this is like the After Effects side of things.
Yes.
Where like it's time remapping and also those like little like dust clouds. I hope they weren't practical dust clouds.
Excuse me. Got that to distract you for a second?
From what? From me?
And I just like didn't.
No, I believe that's digital.
But there's one scene where she's like slamming their heads together and it does a cool thing, right? And later in the car door, right, where she's slamming her head in there.
The car door is so outrageous,
looks very
and
ridiculous.
This speaks exactly to what we're saying, where there's not a proper escalation of things in this movie.
Right.
There's no risk. Like how all the bad guys just die and come right back. Our good guys are seemingly invulnerable until they aren't. Like she gets her head bashed by a boss in a car door.
Yeah,
and like there's like her head may even squish with digital effects. Like she gets railed with that car door.
They do it in a fun way, but it's definitely like her face I think is covered in blood and she's very messed up from it. So you are meant to think like she has almost been defeated here.
Sure.
Then she comes back.
She should be dead.
Yes.
But when her best friend dies, and you're like, that is like, it was such a subversion of expectations because I didn't think that was going to happen at all.
think
You think
anybody
they're
could die.
invulnerable at this point. You're like, oh, everyone's going to be fine.
And not just these two, because if it's like an anime, you can have your like two main characters, but then you have supporting people where it's like, well, because like Velma, Eggplant Velma runs at a she goes charge and then like runs at a whole group of Borgs at one point.
Oh boy.
And is fine. She just like jumps on one's back.
100% fine.
Like
the cop gets like beaten to death multiple times, but he's fine.
But he's fine. Yeah, everyone just ends up being fine.
Yeah,
right.
But she actually dies.
Which I can buy. But then the SheBorg is like strong enough to take her out.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I didn't think like the fights in the beginning. Like maybe once it gets up to speed, I'm not sure which fight I want to call like the first like real fight. But they mix it up different ways. But they never really you never get the sense of like, oh no, this is the boss fight. And like, there's never a moment of like, this fight's very different for some reason, right? You don't have those feelings.
I will say that like the first fight with the security girl with the printers and stuff like that, that's like the funny fight where you're like, okay, things haven't ramped up yet. We're still learning what's happening. But I think
when she comes over with the printer and they like animate her coming up like, oh no, and then boom,
instantly
hits her and stuff.
You're in the shot, you're out of the shot. Like it's prime humor.
There's a lot of that, and there's people with shovels or tools like doing this one on the ground. And they either it's either practical or digital, but they go like spurting coming up and all that stuff. I think it's digital. I'm not sure, but
sometimes they have blood on them. So at least once or twice there's something practical happening.
Everyone's always covered in blood. That's important here.
The fight that I would say is the boss fight to me is when they're fighting the lady they meet in the science lab with the syringes and the dirt floor. Like
I call her Puppy Lady.
Puppy Lady.
Did you forget about me? I'm not forgettable.
Look at my feelings.
Has a better boss fight than the boss has, in my opinion.
Because you introduce different
because it like you think you've killed her, she's not dead. You're like, oh my god, they're invulnerable.
Eat this.
No, and like that's the triumph of the. Well, what do you mean, Puppy Lady with the car and everything, getting run over and stuff?
Oh, she gets run over. She gets thrown off a second floor window or balcony rather onto the floor.
We fight Puppy Lady so many times.
A knife gets in her head.
Yes.
Did you throw a knife at my head?
She feels like the boss.
I thought a lot of her comedy was very cringy, though.
Oh, there's no comedy there.
Okay, like there's a little bit to save it when she gets henchwomen, and one of them is just like arms folded, like what?
What are you doing?
I'm probing.
Why?
For information.
From his butthole?
No, and just like not into her thing or whatever, and it plays to me like a mom trying to be cool with her teenage daughter, and her daughter like hates everything. There was a certain vibe there that I kind of like.
No, that is exactly the vibe.
Because she's like, hello, ooh, look, her eyeball's here. Oh, okay, fine, like whatever.
Oh wow, look! Oh my god, check it out! Look! Woo!
It has a little thing going on.
You know what we have to mention that it's weird to say it's like the best part of the movie for me. Is like on the TV there's this thing happening.
Yes.
It's something with an M, like Morton Man or something.
It's a stop motion with like toys and stuff fighting. Yeah.
But it looks great. Like I want to watch that movie.
Yeah.
And I assume that's just like the director made that in college.
That's like a short film.
And that's
because
every TV is playing it. And like we saw it probably in its entirety from 6 people watching it over 3 different days. Like.
But like the last time you see it, the credits roll.
Yeah,
that's really cool to me that you've like seen the whole
episode.
It's like
McBain in Simpsons, where every time you see him, it links up to be one long thing.
Yes, and
He certainly broke up that meeting.
Right now, I'm thinking about holding another meeting in bed.
Oh, McBain.
It like plays credits that are in like Japanese with like weird voiceover, like it's like a theme song or something. I
like that a lot. It had a really cool look to it.
I liked that linking together. But yeah, like the cops watching that, but then she's like Dylan's watching that. Different characters are doing their thing. So the final fight though, they kill Eddie. That's big. They introduce new powers that the SheBorg has with like an immobilization beam and different stuff like that.
That beam, I was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah,
What is this?
So like,
is she getting lasered?
No, like I liked the look of it definitely. If that's what you're trying to say.
Look. I just didn't know what it was doing.
No, and like part of that could be a funny tropey thing where things get busted out at the last minute. But that ending fight feels kind of cheap and small.
Yeah, just let me throw you in this puddle of puke and you're dead.
Well, but
where'd that puddle of puke come from?
I think that's when they killed one of the other ones. It
was more puke than we'd seen the whole movie, and it's like right there.
So the other alien, we should actually mention this too. The other alien race vomits, melts the Borgs now completely,
yes.
And they end up in jars because Velma's been jarring it up and stuff. I think that puddle there is from the earlier fight scene when they smash the bottle and it just melts the person completely, and it's just laying on the ground now.
I don't know, because like it is clearly like a dug hole for a mud fight full of things. I'm like, that is so much that it made me go, what is that?
I think there were little things of like the clothing there. I don't know.
Maybe,
but
it seemed like too much.
Yes, that's how I took it. So that's how they kill the vet tech one, who's like the head henchwoman of the SheBorg.
Yeah.
Because Populated has her own henchwoman, but she has the henchwoman there. But like no, that ending fight, because the other characters are just running around and it feels weird, and like everything is so small. Like Eddie's like, what does she say? Does she say I know kung fu? She does some like I'm gonna do a kung fu on you.
I know kung fu.
And then when it cuts to the wide shot, the two characters are like a foot apart. It looks super like cheap and gross, and I'm like, this is an underwhelming ending of this whole thing.
This good character is just gone for no reason.
Like you needed some sort of like, we have to do the power thing, we have to do this, okay, we have to coordinate, and then like the cop shows up, I got this at the station, and then like, Velma's like, I'm gonna reverse the polarity like you said, because I just thought of something.
That whole business, I kind of loved that, like, because those are all things that are in every sci-fi movie, and her going, what even is that? How would I do that?
How would a laptop do that?
I don't know, just reverse the polarity or something. Reverse the polarity of what? I don't know, I don't even know what polarity is.
When in the alternate plan is like, I'm gonna just unplug this cord, like, what? That's what?
No, but like that's fine too or something. But then like maybe the SheBorg should have used her like immobilization laser on the other characters to hide them, to like trap them there, so that when Dylan undoes the power, now that resolves that situation and they can run away so that Dylan can fight her. Something. But it didn't feel like anything mattered or stuff went together there at the end the right way, right? I don't know.
The movie taking place almost entirely in the daytime is a mistake too, because they don't have the visuals for that.
You can't hide the sins of various, because
at night in the spaceship and stuff, it all looks really good.
The one big fight, which is like the big brawl outside, like you're saying, with all the Borgs and like all four. So like, it's like the car crash to like start it off as good.
I was like, they crashed a car.
Yeah.
Like they just drove it up a ramp, but it still did flip over when someone pushed it.
It's dope. And then like the fight that ensues, is like it's in the day, and they don't compensate with like filming techniques.
No,
that looks like some like YouTube from like 2007. When
her
is it,
like fighting with the hollow bumper. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, I like her having a weapon, yes,
but that's not a weapon.
It's not an effective weapon, yes. But I like her using something from the environment.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
The idea that you wouldn't just be strapped with something at all times.
But it was just random people with their shirts off or wearing like heavy metal, like Metallica shirts with Borg stuff. Just like, get all of our friends out here to get Borged up, and like that was the whole thing. Right?
It did have that problem where almost every actor is the same age group that is like a friend thing. Like I'm glad the dad wasn't like a 30-year-old.
He's a senior.
Yeah,
it's like yes.
But like like what I mean, like everyone did feel like it felt like you had a cast of characters you could draw from that are all very similar, and you used everyone we ever met back again. Like the band getting recruited personally.
Who's first?
Eeny, meeny, miny.
You. That was weird. I was like, why would they go to do that? The Borg, like wouldn't they just get anyone at all? They go into the city passing by hundreds of thousands of people just to grab those schmucks we met earlier?
Those are the actors that we have, though.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to do the thing.
You can feel it with moments like that.
Yeah. The cheapness stuff. Did you research like the thing about this or whatever?
I got nothing. What do you got?
The budget I think was $20K.
Okay.
And this is what I remember. It must be wrong because this doesn't make any sense. It was filmed over the course of 33 weekends and various nights. Shoots.
That makes sense.
Just randomly. So I'm actually shocked at the continuity that we did get based on hearing shit like that. I stumbled upon a Kickstarter, which was for $1,400.
Okay.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" But that was just for like the physical media release.
Okay. It did get picked up by Wild Eye,
like
and that's how we have that awesome cover.
Yeah, these were like limited edition things or something. I stopped looking once I was like, okay, this is not the Kickstarter for the movie, because I was like, was the budget $1,400? That's amazing. It was more than that, but yes, still, it's
The trailer for this movie is really good.
I've not seen the trailer.
I picked this movie up at the dollar store, but I was like, SheBorg, okay, let's check, because like I liked Manborg. I'm like, is this related?
The box is dope.
Oh yeah,
it's like a painted version of the SheBorg.
Well, that's Wild Eye. They're known for just screwing people over and making you buy things.
But that would get me more into it than a
still
still
of the movie.
Yes,
that is the goal.
It's worked on me. Yes.
Oh yeah. No, it made me watch the trailer. I was gonna buy it regardless, but I was like, let me look what this is.
Were you in the store watching the trailer? Like
no. I buy everything.
Okay, good. No, because you have that disease. We have to buy. We have to buy all these things.
But no, ultimately, I was very pleased with this movie. I think it's a good movie. I think it's fun. I love the low budget stuff that they did. I think if they were to make more of this movie be in space and almost not related, like maybe the humans get abducted or the long white hair alien lived and like they had to fight in the stars or something, I think this could have been a more fun movie.
Yeah, because then you wouldn't be fighting in like there's some woods behind my friend's house. You'd be fighting in like weird fake corridors where it's like, that's just what a spaceship looks like, whatever.
Yeah, because they had these like large roomed places that you probably could have skinned, like the
warehouse.
If we're to believe,
right?
where the electrical stuff happens at the end, with the car, with the door shit. Yeah. But like if we can believe that a scientist and their puppy experiments are happening in this like barn with a dirt floor, I think you could have made a spaceship that we would have believed, because you did in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Right, abduct like a lot of people, random people, and then have them get boarded up or something. If we still want the board.
You could do different races, because I like the creative stuff of having these vomit aliens.
In the intro, there's like a male and a female, and then like the long-haired like boss one. She has lines, she does stuff, she fights a lot, whatever.
Prisoner designation 009 plural Z Alpha. You stand accused of rebellion against the laws of the galaxy.
The one dude that has the weird mechanical arm.
big robot hand.
Big robot hand, and he has one line, and he sounds like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. He's like, ah! It's like, what am I here? What is happening?
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
And that was a big like what am I getting into moment of the movie here? Yeah.
I was 100% sold.
Yeah.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Come on, free these fucking puppies now! Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion